My name is Mike Trudell, and I'm the Lakers reporter for the Lakers and for Spectrum Sportsnet. The good news about the Lakers and the NBA season is that the preparation carries throughout the entire season and the offseason. So for a typical game day, a lot of the work I have done has happened the night before, watching games, or reading articles, or consuming podcasts. So there's a formula for the Spectrum Sportsnet pregame show, and it always starts an hour before the tip. And once we start that process, it usually goes with Frank Vogel, and that's where we get most of the relevant information for that night. Who's in, who's out, what's the key to the scouting report for the Lakers themselves, what's the key to that evening's opponent, and then any other newsworthy or noteworthy thing that may have happened. Another staple of the pregame show and the pregame routine is an interview with one of the Lakers players. In the case of Minnesota, I knew we'd be talking to Wayne Ellington, and I'll spend part of that day just checking up on how Wayne's been playing recently, maybe something else that's going on off the court. In his case, a UNC Tar Heel like James Worthy, so that's something that might come up then in the pregame talk with him.
We all know where you went to school. Carolina represent. You get Marquette. Thoughts on the initial matchup?
I'm excited. I think we're well prepared. I think we're hitting a nice stride at the perfect time.
The first hit for the actual pregame show that I do usually is a wrap around the head coach interview, where I will introduce Frank Vogel, maybe tease what he's going to say, and then wrap it up with some other information. And the key there is just to make sure to remember that the audience is live, may not have seen what Vogel said and what I had tweeted out a half hour, 45 minutes before, and make sure that we're most current and up to date. So I'm often checking my phone and staring down at it right before the time that we go on air, just to make sure that we're not missing it.
Dwight Howard did not play in the previous game due to some personal matters, and we started with Frank just to confirm that he's in for tonight. Here's Frank Vogel a couple moments ago.
So after that initial hit on the court, which again is usually about an hour before tip-off, that's my time to eat and or take care of anything else that might need to be happening in the arena. One trip that I always look forward to is the trip back to Minnesota. As a Minnesotan, I worked for the Timberwolves for a couple of years and got to know a lot of people in the area. My little sister still lives there, a lot of my friends from high school. So it's always a homecoming of sorts that's on top of the game, which is top priority. But that's always a special feeling for me to be in that arena where I started in the NBA. My first hit within the actual game comes right after Stu's three keys, and whatever I think is most pertinent to that evening's matchup, I'll try to get out there in anywhere between 30 seconds and a minute, depending on when tip-off comes. During the game, I am most importantly watching the game, but I have Bill and Stu in my ears, in addition to the producer. And so I have a button on my microphone that I can press at any time to talk to our terrific producer, Mark Shaw, and it may be an observation that I notice that they might not have a camera angle on, or that Bill or Stu can't see from their particular perch, and I will relay that up to Mark. Sometimes it's something that I can do a hit on myself and talk off camera on.
Yeah, guys, he re-aggravated an ankle sprain. That left ankle has been bothering him for a couple of games now, so he will not return tonight.
There are any number of things that can happen minute to minute, and I try to just be the eyes and ears of basically the broadcast there on the floor. So if the Lakers win, we will always do an on-court walk-off interview with whoever the best player in that game is, or just the most pertinent player towards the win. Now, if the Lakers do lose the game, then we don't do the walk-off interview. The post-game stays the same, though. Players are brought into a specific press area where the beat writers, myself, come in, and it's Frank Vogel, and then usually three players. And I will typically lead those interviews, ask the first couple of questions, and meanwhile, I'll tweet out some of the responses that are coming and try to relay that to the fan base as well. There's only one thing that I don't like about traveling in the NBA, and specifically on our terrific Delta planes, and that is that I miss my family. Everything else I like about it. It gives me a lot of time and space to get work done. I've got the food tray open, and so a lot of times we've got laptop, iPad, then I've got phone, headphones in, and or a magazine. And so I try to get a lot of stuff done on the plane. But the main point is that it's so easy. We have the ability to be really focused on what we need to get done. The seats are very comfortable. The staff is incredibly friendly. So it's overall a truly great experience. It's really been a pleasure.